Parliament. I'm not sure if you like what you see sometimes. Some people are saying, Dean, we should extend the half an hour live in the morning to until the session ends. But, well, I told them, if you think you will enjoy it, by all means. I'm all for live telecasted parliamentary debate anyway, but just as a joke. By service politics, I don't think I have to get into that. Service means, you go beyond just getting votes. Because more often than not, in some situations, people tend to work very hard before you get the vote. The moment you get the vote, you disappear. And then you appear again just before you need the next round of voting. So that is integrity to me. You have to have idealism, and you have to live your idealism by doing it right. Of course, right is a big word, but yeah. The second component of new politics is new governance framework. We are quite familiar with the word governance, and especially in the context of good governance, transparency, accountability, and so on and so forth. But by new governance framework, I'm referring to those values, yes, but beyond that, I'm referring to the sectors involved in nation building. I'm referring to the stakeholders. And I divide the stakeholders into three sectors, namely the state, the business, and the civil society. There is a history why it becomes three. Some people may define it or divide it into four, but in political science, I think we started with the first sector, then we go to the second sector, and then we go to the third sector, and maybe beyond, but as it is, I look at it from the three, there are the three sectors, the state, the business, and the civil society. Now, why do I talk about what is the importance of coming up with a new framework? Simply because the current framework, to my mind, is not the ideal framework. It's not the best framework. We have the state. If I can make an analogy of three circles, you have three dispersed circles. They are not really connected. You have the state at the top, and then you have the state relationship with the business. Sometimes the state relationship with the business is very close, to an extent where we become worried because of the possibility of people becoming corrupt because of their close proximity between the state and the business. And then you have the relationship between the state and the civil society. It is very condescending, it is very top-bottom. The civil society, more often than not, is regarded as subservient, and if you would include youth and students in civil society, then you can imagine how the state is looking at the civil society. It's very top-bottom. Not much recognition given to the civil society in terms of its voice, in terms of its role, and in terms of the way we solve issues or the way we address issues faced by the civil society. Between the business and the civil society, it is more like a giver and someone asking and someone giving. So the civil society asking for donation and the business giving donation. It's not really a partnership. Even when CSR is being conducted by some businesses, they tend to treat civil society organization like they are coolie. Pardon me for saying it, because look, I have the money, you have the food soldiers, so you do it, I get my tax exemption. That's it. Okay. To me, an ideal situation is when the three connect with each other, engage in a real, genuine partnership. The state will have to be on top, simply because it is the only one among the three that is legitimately elected by the people, because we are in a democratic society. It is my belief that the business has no aim to replace the state. Neither do the civil society wanting to replace the state. I believe that both the business sector and the civil society understand the position of the state. And what they need is really for the state to understand and recognize the position, the space, the role, the function of the business and the civil society. The importance of the civil society, I believe we don't really have to deal with it now, because we all know that the bottom line of the state is vote, whereas the bottom line of the business is profit, when in everyday life there are 1,001 issues that has got nothing to do with either profit or state. Hence the relevance of the civil society. Now, my book was launched by Dato Najib in 2009. Perhaps that helps me to win my seat in the Supreme Council, I don't know. Yeah, I must be thankful to him for launching the book. He was then Deputy Prime Minister. But beyond, but after some time, after the book was sold and after a lot of discussion, I began to add two more elements to both components. The two elements are namely, number one, innovations in democracy. There is a need for some kind of innovations in democracy. And the second one is the need for progressive political thoughts in this country. In innovation in democracy, I believe the purpose, the main aim for innovations in democracy is really to increase and to enhance people's participation in the structures and processes of decision making. This is a you see, we are living in a post-structural society. Not everything has to be structured as such as we understand it 20 or 30 years ago. People are now talking about post-parliamentary democracy, that democracy is beyond, well, number one, democracy is more than just voting. Democracy is more than just the parliament. And it is in this context that we have to look at ideas on deliberative democracy, ideas on participatory democracy, where we want to include as many people as possible, as many stakeholders as possible into the structures, and even if there is no structures, into the processes of decision making. On my part, as a member of Parliament in Temerloh, I started my own mini parliament. I call it the Majlis Perundingan Parlimen Temerloh, the Temerloh Parliamentary Consultative Council. Basically, we have about 150 to 160 members representing all the three sectors, the state, the business, and the civil society. We meet like twice a year. We've met 5 times. We should have met 6 times, but it's not easy. The first meeting was interesting. It became a complaint bureau because people are not used to being invited into a process where the member of parliament tells them, look, my brothers and sisters, you have voted me as a member of parliament. I'm going to be your representative to parliament. I'm supposed to be talking on behalf of you, though I'm already a deputy minister, but I'm going to pass it to other people to speak on your behalf. Please tell me, what do we speak in parliament? Well, they come up with complaints. Jalan tak siap lah, and the normal stuff. The second meeting was much better. By the third meeting, it was quite concrete. By the fourth meeting, we came up with Temerloh KRA. By the fifth meeting, people start talking about corruption. That was interesting. Yeah. The need for us to combat corruption and so on. When I look at what Dato Najib did, the process that he took, the process that he used in formulating GDP, you remember, well, let's put it this way. As Prime Minister, he has all the authority to appoint a bunch of people to go somewhere on the highland and stay there for 1 week and then come back and hear Mr. Prime Minister a blueprint called Government Transformation Program. Former Prime Ministers did that.